a bombing mission to the Daimler-Benz plant in Berlin, Germany. 800 miles one way, 800 miles another way. I was the squadron leader of my squadron. We were to meet the bombers and escort them to the outskirts of Berlin, and then we were to be relieved by another fighter group that got detained by bad weather, and we were told to proceed on to Berlin. As we proceeded on to Berlin, our commander, Ben Davis, had engine trouble. He had to turn back. So it was myself and two other squadron leaders who were leading the group. So when we got over Berlin, I heard some chatter about jet planes. We had already been warned about the ME-262, which was 100 miles faster than our planes, the first combat operational jet planes in the air. And just as they said that, I looked over my shoulder and I saw these streaks going real fast, headed up to the bombers. At that point in time, where I was flying tail end Charlie, I called to my squadron people, drop your fuel tanks. I said, drop tanks and follow me. So I turned upside down to the split S, came down under the bombers. Bombers were here, I was here. I came down under the bombers, away from the jet that was streaking in, and then hit a hard right and pulled up to put the jet in the sights of the new technology, the K-14 gun sight, which would put an orange ring around the silhouette of the plane you're trying to shoot so that you could follow it. Because as you know, when you're shooting a moving object, you have to shoot ahead of it. Put that orange ring around that jet, pull the trigger, right into the middle, and boom, the plane blew up, pilot parachuted, we shot down the first jet over Berlin. And that's the reason why they used that film for a long time to show how to really blow up a jet. Because most of the jets that had been shot down before then were shot down on landing or takeoff. This is one of the first air-to-air jet destructions. Two other my pilots shot down other jets. About three others were damaged by pilots of the 99th and the 332nd. And as a result of that, we were considered to be heroes. And when they decided to award the Distinguished Unit Citation for the mission to Berlin, 2 bomber groups and only 1 fighter group, the 332nd Benteos, got the Distinguished Unit Citation. We were then extolled because of our great combat maneuvering, shooting down jets, protecting the bombers. One thing that I learned is don't let your ego get ahead of your good sense. After I shot down the jet, I shot him down. I looked around, I see 12 o'clock. There's a P-51. I said, that's one of my buddies, let me join him. As I got close, I see the Germans had captured the P-51, had an X on the wings. I said, well, look, they captured this plane, I'll shoot it down. So I come in, pulling behind him, and then I looked at my fuel gauge, it was below half. I said, I can stay and shoot down this German P-51 or I can go home. Guess what? I went home. I flew 700 miles alone. There wasn't much fighters in the air to alternative base in northern Italy called Rimini. And as I landed and taxied in, my engine quit. I made the right decision, because if I had stayed there, I'd have been a PW or been dead, possibly. So it shows that when you, in combat, when you have to make these quick decisions, don't let your ego and your desire to be a hero overcome your good sense. And that's one thing I'm sure you're learning, decision-making. Decision-making in the long term, decision-making in the short term. So that is the story of our combat experience, because as I said, there were 360 pilots who were involved in this, 96 distinguished flying crosses, 700 air medals. And as a result of our outstanding work, in July of 1948, the then President Harry Truman signed an executive order eliminating segregation in the military, the first official act of desegregation prior to even the Supreme Court desegregating the public schools. So when people ask me, was the Tuskegee Airmen experience worth it? You're damn right. We helped to change society. We had some assistance from some fair-minded white pilots and administrators and politicians, but mainly it was our determination to overcome this blight that said we couldn't do it. And that's the lesson that everybody identifies with. As George Lucas said in the advertising for his movie, courage knows no color. Excellence is an antidote to prejudice. And I usually end my presentations pulling back on my academic career as a psychometrician with a formula which I think everybody can write down and remember. 3P equals E. E stands for excellence. The first P is preparation. Tuskegee Airmen had tremendous preparation. The second P is persistence. We overcame a lot of adversity through our persistence. And the most important part of the P is pride. Feeling good about yourself, feeling good about your background, feeling good about being a human being in this world, feeling good about your country. So 3P equals E. First one is what? Preparation. Second one is persistence. Third one and most important is what? Pride. 3P equals E. Thank you very much. Tuskegee Airmen mission completed. Okay. Okay.